NBA DFS show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Game Day Playbook Preview Show. We got 4 games here on a Thursday. Pretty exciting slate of 4 games. Detroit, Charlotte, Minnesota, Toronto, Utah, San Antonio. And 2.5 hours later, Orlando versus LA, the Lakers, on the late night hammer here. So get your coffee ready. Get your 5-hour energy drink because you could be in for a long night.
No energy drinks. Coffee only.
If you're getting ready for the, if you're maybe in a contention late, you got to stay up till these 1 o'clock in the morning for this Orlando Lakers game to get over with.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one.
Or you'd be the people that say, hey, I woke up to this.
I guess. I mean, because we do it, I would rather be the person to just stay up and watch, laying in bed. I'm just absolutely perspirating and wait, babe, what's wrong?
Yeah,
don't bother me. I'm winning us some money. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting slate. We can't complain though, John. We've been begging for the late night hammer to come back in our lives, and we've gotten it 3 days in a row.
And we'll get it 4 because in-season tournament Friday.
In-season tournament on Friday. So can't complain. And also, it does make a big difference. I'm happy that it's 4 games versus the 3 games that if they didn't include that late slate, that would have been pretty tough. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting slate. There's some very middling teams. I would say there's been some surprising teams in this mix. The Lakers, the Magic are really good. I'd even say the Spurs are a little bit surprising. Getting a big win against OKC without Victor Wembanyama the other day.
No Vassell either.
Yeah, and Vassell, or Vassell, and even the Pistons have been new look Pistons, new head coach, veteran presence, and they look very serviceable. So very fun slate. Highest total on the board, 227. So we don't even have one specific game where you're just going to see all the ownership in, or this game is 240 implied points. We already know where everyone's going. We don't have that, and I like that about slate. Sometimes we have to make some decisions and possibly play some players in spots that we don't typically do.
Yeah. This slate obviously has its drawbacks here. No Victor Wembanyama ruled out. We could see the return of Scotty Barnes, considered questionable with that eye injury.
Yeah, full practice on Wednesday.
So we'll see how Toronto getting healthier with their lineup. Quickly still out. We have Chris Paul as questionable. We'll see the situation for him. DDV Conley, I think, is doubtful, right? And I guess he's questionable. I thought he was doubtful for this slate, but either way, Minnesota could be shorthanded at their guard position here. So obviously, I'm on the playbook. I'll cover all the injuries that happen throughout the day. We'll have the live stream at 5. Do appreciate you guys all tuning in. You want to hit that like, that share, that subscribe button. Certainly appreciate all the support here. We just crossed 8,000 subscribers. We couldn't do that without you guys tuning in each and every day and supporting us here over on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel, especially with our NBA DFS content. You guys come out and support the hell out of us, and we're happy to do it to get you guys and hopefully win some money. So let's jump into the slate. Point guard position, Cade Cunningham is $9,700 is your top price point guard here. LaMelo Ball at $9,500. Scotty Barnes, point guard only on this slate. Weird. $8,700. Your top 4 point guards here, top 3 point guards here. We've been playing a lot of Cade Cunningham. Price tag is quickly rising to where it should be. On a 4-game slate, though, I mean, there's only a few guys worth spending up for. 2 guys up over 10K, they're going to be on the slate, AD and LeBron, and then it's Cade number 3. So where do you find yourself looking for Cade in this spot?
Dude, he's been great. Down game against Toronto, but, you and I say this over and over and over and over again. I will never not play somebody because they just missed shots the game before. I mean, he took 21 shots in the one game that he flopped, and then the other surrounding games around his one bad game, 50, 65 a 65 fantasy point triple double, 71 fantasy point game double double. We were getting a lot of 50 plus fantasy point games out of Cade lately, and that's been his ability to really just do everything. So yeah, I have no issues getting to Cade. It's a great spot. We saw Brooklyn, just shorthanded Brooklyn, absolutely obliterate Charlotte's defense, right? So Charlotte's now 20th in defensive rating. That has slowly ticked down and gotten worse. So I love Cade 97. LaMelo, we talked about this the other day, John, straight up got benched. And head coach Charles Lee talked about LaMelo Ball getting benched the other day. That was the only reason he didn't play. They felt like Trey Mann had the better thing going. Detroit's been like pretty good defensively this year. They actually ranked 10th in defensive rating. Would you shy away from LaMelo here, knowing one, he got benched, and two, he's facing a top 10 defense, or like?
I mean, obviously on this slate, you're looking for guys that have ceilings. I think in tournaments, he's certainly a play. I think the message probably was sent to him on that benching, which, he needs. It wasn't just, I think it started to become a accumulation of things, right? He had the fined for the post game comments, the game before that. And then, making some poor decisions with the basketball late in a close game. And, they just pulled him off the floor. They're like, listen, you're not going to protect the basketball. You're going to not play team basketball here in a game that we're trying to win. Then you're not going to be on the floor. And they pulled him off for the final, was it 6 or so minutes of that game?
Yeah, he did not play basically any of the fourth.
Yeah. So listen, I said to you on the Wednesday slate, sometimes when players get called out, they respond. Joel Embiid, big game against Memphis. Now, it was set up for him to have a big game given the front court that Memphis was going to put out there, but he responded. He had a Joel Embiid type performance here. LaMelo gets fined and chastised for his comments, then benched in publicly again, chastised by his coach in the postgame for why he got benched. I would like to see him respond here. I like to think that there's a sense of pride as well with him. Not only that, but a competitiveness. He's going up against another young, elite, up and coming point guard, in this league, right? Like in a couple of years when Steph and all those guys go away, this could be a Ball Cunningham face of the league situation. And maybe this brings out the best of them. So I don't mind going to Ball at $9,500. Scotty's just an eye. So
yes,
Minich probably still okay, right? Do you think there's any limitations? He can run?
Possibly, yeah, right. I think that's the key, right? He should be fine. I mean, he's played massive minutes pre-injury, so
he had a broken orbital bone. Those, sometimes guys wear masks with those things and play through, right?
But also some people struggle with the mask, and immediate. You see some people just nah, I can't do this. I'm taking it off. So, it's if we find out his conditioning's good, no limitations, then I would have 8,700 is too cheap especially with Quickly out.
Yeah, agreed. Work your way down into that next grouping here. You have Suggs at $6,800. Keontae George is $5,800. I mean, Davion still probably starts, but I don't know what to do now with, I guess I don't know how involved overall he would be, as a point guard, or, he's not an off the ball shooter. So with Davion's $5,100 there. Again, it's a small slate, so positionally wise, the depth runs out on us here.
I mean, I'd definitely throw Chris Paul into that mix if he plays. He's questionable,
Sure.
but he looked really good the other night. And we're starting to, it's always dangerous. This always happens to us, right? We start talking about players that suddenly look good, or every time we start talking about Chris Paul, he looks good, and then he doesn't shoot the next game.
Yeah.
But 10 shots, no Wemby, no Vassell. Both those guys not playing. So I definitely think there's some merit to getting to Chris Paul. The Keontae George thing is interesting to me, John. Jordan Clarkson's listed questionable in this game. And we saw Keontae George had 1 fantasy point at half last night. As you know firsthand, Keontae George had 1 fantasy point.
Yeah, sure
He
did.
had 30 fantasy points for the game. So if there's no Jordan Clarkson in this game, I would really like Keontae George more. I think that puts Keontae George on the ball a lot more. In that scenario, also, if there's no Clarkson, Colin Sexton at 54 becomes a great
Yeah.
play against the Spurs. Like you can get to both those guys. Little to no interest in Davion, especially with how close in price he is to the Utah guys and how close he is in price to the Minnesota guys. Like
Yeah.
because there's also the chance if one or the other sit, we're going to play DiVincenzo or Conley. And then you have NAW lurking wherever I think they must have moved him positionally finally. But NAW shooting guard, small forward, he's lurking. So like, there's a lot to like outside of Davion at 51.
Okay. We do have Orlando on a back-to-back that we're playing right now. We'll have to see what Anthony Black does, but obviously he had the big game against Phoenix. The game prior to that, if he has another big game, we'll probably throw him into some considerations for this slate as well. Shooting guard.
Wait.
Wow.
We're just jumping. We got people to talk about. If Chris Paul sits, Trey Jones could potentially slide into the starting lineup. I don't know if they need to with Stephon Castle, but they've obviously liked playing Castle off the ball so far this season. So if Trey Jones were to start, 3,900 would be a really good value. And then if Clarkson doesn't play, Isaiah Collier's been playing like pretty good minutes off the bench, 26 minutes, 20 minutes. And if there's no Clarkson, Clarkson's playing 30 minutes a night. So I think Isaiah Collier is someone that could pick up some extra minutes.
Couple of guys under 4K that could be in play if their injury news breaks their way. Shooting guard, Anthony Edwards.
Cut you off again. Sorry. I did it again. Oh no, I did.
$9,600 for Anthony Edwards here. Against Toronto. Price is up on Anthony Edwards. Production, not really following. So I don't think on this slate I would go to Anthony Edwards here. Obviously, it's a small slate. You can if you want to, but not where I'm looking to go. You got Reeves, you got Miller, you got Ivy. I'd play any one of those three. I have no problem plugging in and moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Anthony Edwards, obviously, in a tournament because the whole field's going to play LeBron or AD or both. So to be different, Edwards obviously has like the better matchup of those players.
The thing is, like for me, it's not like he had 40 fantasy points, but he only played 31 minutes. He's 39, 42, 40, 36. He's just not doing it.
I don't disagree, but also like we do know what ceiling he can have. Like it's not like it's just like there is not a ceiling at the price that he's at. That's all I'm saying. I agree on the other three. I don't love Reeves, but I haven't liked the price very much in general. You and I were like shocked at the ownership the other day. And it, especially at the price, I don't find myself.
I think for me, it's a small slate thing where it's like he probably is pretty safe for 30 fantasy points, and while 35 is, the 5x we're kind of looking for. I think that there's a spot for it. Now it is Orlando, to your point, not a great matchup. More ownership probably going to go to Miller or Ivy, especially after Miller. Shout out to you. You said it. We said it. We broke it down for everybody. You just got to hit his shots. If he hits his shots, he can go break a slate. There he is, 47 fantasy points. He went 11 of 17. He went 5 of 9 from 3. It's setting up. This could be a tougher matchup for him, but, he's going to shoot. So if the shot drops in the bucket, we will have the fantasy points there.
Yep. And I think Jaden Ivey is great. If you don't want to play Miller, I think Ivy's whole field going back to Miller now. It's like, oh, great. Brandon Miller made shots. Well, pivot to Jaden Ivey, who's coming off a bad game. And we've seen this time and time again, right? Jaden Ivey, 2 in his last 4, over 40, second highest usage rate on the team, well into the 26-27% range. So I think Ivey's a great pivot off of Miller, who presumably early on is going to get ownership.
Yep. Like you mentioned, Clarkson's questionable here. If he does play, I would certainly have interest. $5,600, just given the way he's been playing. Sexton's there. THJ came back, but Beasley still played 30 in that game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he can't not play 30 with how good he's been. I mean, he is making every shot he's taking.
What do you think of the PRK here first, defensively for Charlotte?
They are 20th defensively overall. So
yeah, I agree. I just sometimes it's the psyche of it, right? You build in lineups, people tend to fade the red numbers here, and that may not be the spot.
I think it's kind of like a tough thing because like Beasley's also listed as small forward. So is that something that they're listing for small forwards?
Yeah, shooting guard. It's the first position.
Okay. I'm a little. I don't mind. I mean, they're 20th in defensive rating. Brooklyn just put up.
Are we chasing Connect 4 here?
It is a cool call.
His number's number 4. They did it on purpose.
It is a very cool call. Like hearing the broadcast say that, I was like, wow, that is awesome. I mean, look, you said it. Like Rui is questionable, and he's not obviously going to come back ahead of schedule just to like, I need to get back on the floor to get. I don't think Rui loses his spot. I would assume it'd be Cam Reddish. And
you're not taking this guy.
No, I know. No, but like it's just impossible to see a scenario where Dalton Connect at this point is not starting. And it's it's not really chasing. Like obviously somewhat if he played the game that he had, you're chasing it a little bit, but he's been super good scoring.
5 threes in 2 of the previous 3 games.
Right.
And then you hear the LeBron comments, right? And LeBron being like, yeah, I knew what kind of player we had. Like I watched a lot of Tennessee volunteer basketball. Like what didn't anybody notice about this kid? And like to the point they talked about it, like he was this guy in college. Like he just would go on crazy runs of scoring and knocking down threes. So I'm kind of in agreement with you. Like it would not shock me if he starts moving forward. I said it that I thought he would start over even if Hachimura was healthy in that game anyways. Because this is what Redick wants to play. And if this dude is going to be that opens up everything else on the floor. Because now teams can't cheat on closing out on AD and LeBron because Dalton Connect is going to hit 6 threes and they'll be out of it. So also loved the Utah Jazz coach after that game.
Great. Will Hardy's a great quote.
Everybody knew in the gym that Connect was going to shoot the basketball except the guys on my team.
There was only a few people in the arena that knew who was going to shoot the basketball, and it's unfortunate that a few people that didn't know were on my team.
We're on our team, yeah. So great quote by Will Hardy, but also again he was nuclear. He hit 4 straight threes, got fouled shooting 3, hit the 3 free throws, and then hit another 3.
And then started the fourth. And then started off the fourth with a 3 too. And then
himself. So that makes sense. We saw that with Reeves tonight. Just heat check if you're going to knock all those threes down. But again, I don't see him coming off the floor. He's $5,100. Now it is Orlando. He's going to have like KCP just running them down on this game. But, small slate, that kind of ceiling here, I think you got to give him a look. Castle certainly interesting in this matchup against Utah, especially. Loving the minutes, hits his shots against OKC, and he has a bigger day. He had the 8 assists. You and I were basically watching GameCast. I'm like, Castle 4.5 assists, live bet. That feels good. And then I didn't pull the trigger, and he just was banging off assists after that. So I like Castle here at 49. Champagny, because Vassell's out again. So like Champagny's here. Keldon hit 6 threes in that game. So we'll talk about San Antonio because it is a good spot for them against Utah. Where else are you looking?
I don't think there's anything else. Like Tim Hardaway, you mentioned, he came back, he played 30 minutes. He went 1 of 10. He's probably going to start. But also, if he goes 1 of 10 again, Malik Beasley's going to take a spot. So he needs to make shots. I would, if DiVincenzo or Conley sit or both, NAW is really good play. He started in one of those Portland games, the game that he played 32 minutes in, and he had 31 fantasy points. So if we get one guy out in Minnesota, I would go to NAW.
Okay. Small forward. Again, got LeBron at 10-1. Got Franz Wagner at $9,100. RJ Barrett now playing with Scotty Barnes. We'll have to take a thought on there. Laurie Market in your top 4.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron's going to be popular. I get it. Not the best spot, but LeBron is the way that he's playing and the way he's accruing triple doubles. It wouldn't really matter if he did score 30. You could definitely play Franz, second leg of a back to back. Off to like a slowish start on the Wednesday slate, but it was a tough matchup against the Clippers. Like super terrible game environment. Clippers do have like good wing defenders, so
he's at 0 points, but he has 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. Right, so
that's very useful
because they're probably just closing down on him, right?
Yeah, the Lakers don't have that. They have Cam Reddish and LeBron, but we already know, like, if Rui's back, like, Cam Reddish is not going to play as much as he's been. So, like Franz, Barrett, we probably do need Scotty Barnes out. I would, if Barnes said, I would play RJ Barrett. I know it's a tough spot, but like, again, it was a tough spot against the Knicks, right? And he went for 6, and then he did it again against the Pacers. So, if Scotty sat, I'd be okay getting to RJ Barrett. Markkanen, if Clarkson's out, I said it to you, man. I really felt like Larry Markkanen was too cheap in that game. Yeah. And I also was just a little bit like aware, like we are going to get more shot attempts from this guy. Like Lakers are a bad defensive team. He's too good to just not shoot the ball. And we got everything I thought. 42 was perfectly fine at 7K. Is another good spot with no Wemby defense on the other side. So I would go right back to what with Larry Markkanen as well.
Sure. Keldon's there. 29 minutes, 7 of 15, 6 of 12 from 3. Unlikely to get that kind of 3-point volume shooting out of him again, but it is Utah, not a good defensive team here. I guess if there is no Scotty Barnes, you could try Grady Dick out, but obviously he has cooled off considerably. Over the last handful of games. You got Beasley there. We've talked about Dalton Connect, as we talked about Champagny. What do you have at Osler? Is he close? No, he's doubtful, but
yeah, he's close. We're close.
He'll play like 10 minutes though. I bet they just slow ramp him up
for sure.
Again, Champagny's gonna play minutes in this game. He's been really good this season. At $4,600, Harry B popped. You think we get another Harry B game?
I mean, apparently it's on the table. So
no Wemby, right? Like there's some
no Wemby, 20 and 8. I mean, I'm not going to chase Harrison Barnes, but he's 4,400. He's going to start. He's going to play 30 minutes. There's a chance. I mean, you could also say, like, I like Jaden McDaniels here. If he were to stay out of foul trouble, we're starting to get in foul trouble again, but he's been really, really good in fantasy. Yeah, dude, he's been really good there, and he is really good there. So he just needs to stay out of foul trouble, and he hasn't, and he's still been good for fantasy. So 4,600, 30+ minute upside if he stays out of foul trouble.
Sure. Power forward. Yeah, and a lot of guys we've discussed already. Randall, $8,300, had that game winner the other night. Big game out of him against Phoenix, 35, 7 and 4. First, like, super big game of the season for him. Don't mind it. Probably maybe a little bit too expensive for what we've consistently got out of him, but not a terrible spot at 83. John Collins, $7,200, always been a baby of ours. Certainly would go back to the well knowing there's no Wemby on the other side of that matchup. And then Toby, just safe as ever against Charlotte here.
Yeah, Randall has a ceiling. We finally saw it. So you can definitely get there. I think Minnesota feels pretty expensive in general, but I'm fine with it. John Collins would have an even higher ceiling if there's no Clarkson. So definitely good there. We'll see what the ownership is between him and Markkanen. I'd probably just play the lower end of the two. Bridges is definitely fine. We did get the 33 minutes. We were wondering what the minutes were going to be in that third game back.
No other stats, right? That was a killer.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing else. And then I like Tobias Harris. He finally let us down last game, but it wasn't for like the lack of scoring. He just
Mhm.
didn't do anything else. And
Yeah,
I get
rebounds,
it.
no assists, yeah.
I mean, Jalen Duran had 20 rebounds and Cade almost had a triple double.
Yeah.
So there's not much left on the bone there for Toby, but that was the first game really all year that he's let us down.
I agree. Knowledge reading tournaments, $5,300. We've seen him have big games. He's largely kind of settled in at a good price for the return there. Grant Williams has been, really good. Again, he stat padded a little bit, offensive rebound, put back with 0 time left on the clock, but still over 30 fantasy points again, 5K here. I think that as long as they keep playing him, he's going to be keeping killing his fantasy value.
Yeah, I agree. I also think like sometimes I don't think the scoring is going to be this consistent for Grant, but for the last 5, he's given us 15 plus. So I guess I can't really be a hater here.
I mean, he like developed into like a pretty decent offensive player for the Celtics because that's how he basically stayed in the league.
Sure.
As a guy for him, he shot, he's been around a 38, 39% 3-point shooter. He shot 40% second to last year in Boston. So like I think the offense is real. He's kind of always been a 45 to 50% field goal shooter. So, 45% and 37% from 3 is kind of on par with his career averages. So not bad. You got Filipowski, who they start. He played 25 minutes in that game, gave you 20 fantasy points. Can continue to go back there if you want.
Yeah,
Some of
and
our
if there's no Clarkson, Filipowski could actually close potentially if they went with like a bigger lineup.
yeah. Does Isaac play on a back to back?
I think so. He played last back to back,
Okay.
and he played more in the second game.
Yep. That's
So I think so, but we're recording during that game. We need him to get through the first game first.
Sure. He's got
We
2
we
minutes. 2 minutes in right now. He's got a block.
we can't get ahead of ourselves with Jonathan Isaac. Like
True. Boucher played 4 points, 3 blocks, 7 rebounds in 18 minutes in that game. 4,500. And Mamo ended up doing just 5 minutes for Mamos. They didn't even put him on the floor. All right. Anything else?
no.
Okay. Center gives us Anthony Davis at 11-1. Anthony Davis against the Utah Jazz went for 58 fantasy points in 34 minutes, 26, 14, 6, and 2. He is a good basketball player.
Good at the game of basketball for sure. Left that game too. And
Did.
58 fantasy points.
He did leave that game briefly. Jakob Jokic Pertl. We'll see if Scotty Barnes returning impacts him or not. Maybe he has just elevated his game to another level.
There's a chance.
30,
There's a chance.
15, 35 and 12. What do we look? 25 and 18. What are we looking at here?
I don't know. I don't. What I said, I messaged you earlier. His nickname is the Big Schnitzel.
Yeah,
which I thought is he's from Austria, which is like right next to Germany. So I think that was a super quality nickname.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like the efficiency is just absurd, right? Because it's the volume and the efficiency are absurd for Jakob Pertl. And for what it's worth, Scotty Barnes isn't always like score first. Scotty Barnes is a really good shot creator for others. So there is a chance that this just sticks for the foreseeable future. I like Pirtle 81 with or without Barnes. It's a good play.
And what will be probably the ultimate letdown spot.
He's gonna be so chalky. He's gonna be so popular. So popular.
Yeah, he will be. I feel like we played him. He got hurt in this game last time. This is the game that he got hurt. I think he got hurt in. Played 8 minutes, 3 rebounds, 5 fantasy points. We're running it back. We're going to play him at $6,400, and we're just going to hold our breath and hope that he can be as good as he's been. Because there's no better matchup for Jalen Duran right now.
Prayers
Uh,
up. Prayers.
I don't know if you saw, there was a reporter that took like a screenshot of like the Raptors at like practice, and then like in the background of the photo was Mark Williams like practicing, and people were like, "Whoa,
Ooh,
is that Mark Williams like in practice? You close? Like what is happening here?" So,
he's been ramping up.
Yeah,
So
he's getting close. He's out, but he's getting close. Zach Collins is questionable.
yes, yes, he is. So if he
That
doesn't
would put
play, I mean,
Bassey, obviously, as an elite play in terms of value, I would imagine here. Bassey coming in at $4,000. He was playing over 20 minutes the last two games, anyways. But it would make us revisit Mamu, probably.
yes, it would. It would, for sure. Bassey would be the chalk of the slate. I think if he starts, I think no question. I think the field would go there, just given how good he's been fantasy point per minute the last two games. But
Diabate would be your counter to Duran.
Yeah, we also just don't know. Like the minutes have just fallen off a cliff again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he still had 7 rebounds in 16 minutes against Brooklyn.
No, I know, but he also had 0 points.
Yeah. Well, he's not. Yeah, he's not an offensive player. Mo Wagner scoring buckets. That's just what he does. He only played 12 minutes against Phoenix, but he's having an okay start to tonight's game. We'll see what happens there. A little revenge game for Mo. Lakers drafted him, didn't use him.
Sure,
send him away. Trade him to with Kuzma, right? Trade him with Kuzma to Washington.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
Right, you're not playing Goga, I would imagine.
We also don't know. I mean, Wendell Carter was questionable, so we
Yeah.
could even see the return of Wendell Carter. So
Okay.
indifferent.
What are we doing?
Indifferent.
Where are we starting?
Where are we starting? Where are we starting?
Say it again. Maybe we'll figure it
out. Definitely San Antonio.
Okay.
It's a really good matchup, and they have a lot of guys out.
So we're just gonna play
like
Castle,
Keldon, probably. Again, we can't
like Keldon or Champagne. Champagne is a little cheaper.
I guess that's fair. If you want to play Champagne, that's fine.
And then do we just play Bassey because we know no matter what he's playing 20 plus minutes here?
Yeah, I'd be okay with it. I mean, that was a competitive game. They basically split the center minutes. Not Collins played more, but 26 and 20. I mean, that was a little surprising.
Cade. Do you like who?
AD.
You go double center. That's 52-50. Filipowski's 48. Let's see. We got Dalton Connect. We're just gonna run that one back. Is Champagne power forward or just small forward? Just small forward. Connected forward. So power forward and forward here, 5,300. I guess we could just play Keldon. We got 3 Spurs already though.
This feels like a Nasri type environment.
Nas and Charlotte against Toronto. 5,300. Beasley, 52.
Yeah,
Grant Williams, 5K.
Yeah,
let's go Grant. Just get that exposure. All right. Example lineup put together. Kate Cunningham, Castle, Champagne, Reed, Bassey, Connect, Williams, and Davis with $300 left over. Obviously, you can go down from AD and play LeBron. Save like $1,000 or play another spend up or more fair and balanced lineup to fill in where you want to. But just again, an example, we'll have the playbook out. We'll be live at 5. If you have any questions, hit us then. Get us on Discord and on Twitter, and we'll catch you later.